Scott Verplank is joining us, five-time winner on the PGA Tour. Distinctively, he won the 1985 Western Open as an amateur. I'm going to get into the details of that in just a moment here. Multiple times represented the United States on the Ryder Cup team. Multiple times represented the United States in the President's Cup team. He played in, ready for this, 645 PGA Tour events. I like because we count them when we have the players come on. First thing I like to say is, do you feel like you played in 645 PGA Tour events? 94 top 10s along the way, 7 top 10s in majors. Oklahoma State alum. He won the 1984 U.S. Amateur and the 1986 NCAA individual title. Did Scott Verplank. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you been?
Doing good, Matt. I love that you're on the Golf Channel now and got a bigger platform, so good for you.
Thanks, man. When you heard me talking about Pebble, right? The Pro-Ams and all the rest. What Pro-Am were you ever played with that just annoyed the heck out of you?
That one there actually was a little tough, just because, like you said, you had the celebrities and you had so many people in the field playing 3 courses, and the rounds just seemed to take forever. So, and then you throw in some kind of marginal weather. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world to play golf, and when they're 6.5 hour rounds and it's raining sideways, you can only laugh and giggle so much. Eventually you get run down.
Does Scott Verplank have any place left in the world, a golf course that's your bucket list? I'd love to play here.
I think I would like to go play some golf down in the New Zealand. I have been to New Zealand and have played there, but there's a couple places that look just so cool. And I've never played Royal County Down in Ireland. So I'd really like to go play that. And other than that, I've been so lucky and blessed to get to play most of the great places around the world that I'd rather not travel unless I get to go to someplace really special.
Well, we're doing a trip to Royal County Down next year. If you want to join us, you are absolutely more than welcome. All right, so Dom showed me this video that is allegedly you skiing down this hill.
Scott Verplank on the driving range, making some really nice turns here.
Yeah, Matt, that's my pro, my ski teacher, and I just can't break 80 skiing. That's
was that you? Was that who was doing the play-by-play of that?
That is a guy named Charlie Farnan, who basically runs Crested Butte Mountain in Colorado, and he's been teaching me for 35 years. Great guy, great golfer. But yeah, I work on it, but I'm just about an 80 shooter. So I want to get better, but I just don't want to hold anybody up. So I'll pick up if my ball's out of play.
I don't know. It looked pretty good to me. The thing that I don't understand about it is that for a guy that's already like the $6 million man with all the different parts and pieces in you, is that safe out there skiing? And have you done that for your whole career? You're like, I'm gonna live my life outside the ropes?
Yes, to be honest with you, growing up, being a type 1 diabetic and dealing with that. It's not anything bad. It's just what I've had to do. I just was like, I got to have some other things to do besides play golf. And I didn't start until I was like 24 skiing. So I just kind of said, the first time I went for a week and I never once thought about playing golf. So I immediately fell in love with skiing. So I'm fortunate. I am good enough to stay upright. All my kids, my wife, my kids, they all love it. We just got back from a trip together, and it's some of the best family time you'll ever have.
Awesome stuff. You're a father of 4, right? How the kids doing?
Yeah, all great. Have a grandson now, so that's even better.
Wow! All right.
Yeah, you can't really explain how cool that is, but it is. It's the best. I'll get to see him here in about an hour.
Very, very cool, indeed. So, when you mentioned that you were a type 1 diabetic, I mean, you've been quoted many times saying that amongst the things that you have to do, watching what you eat, et cetera, that exercise is not an option. It's an obligatory thing that you have to do. What I'm curious to that, and you show this with your foundation, helping put kids through school, helping them deal with type 1 diabetes. How much is it for you, Scott, something that continues to fire up your passion, continues to fire up your life, that you know you can use the platform that you're on to help impact and change the lives of others?
Well, that obviously is I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That it is exciting to me, or I wouldn't say exciting, but it's gratifying to me that I've been lucky enough to get in a position to help other people that are in a similar spot. So me and my wife, we give college scholarships to type 1 diabetic kids who play a sport, try hard in school, and make an effort to take care of themselves. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to make straight A's, but we want a commitment that you're going to give it your all. And basically, we've always been looking for people. My number one goal is to find a group of young people who are going to be so successful that they're going to be able to do way more than I've ever been able to do, be way more successful socially and financially than I am. So they might even be able to take what I'm doing to a different level. So I'm just trying to I tell all the kids that I talk to that we give scholarships, I'm just looking for I need a superstar. We're expecting you to be a superstar. Go out there and kick butt. And when you get to the top, make sure you give back.
That's awesome stuff. By the way, behind you, you're kind of flexing on us with it looks like a lot of trophies, etc. What's on those shelves behind you?
No, that's this one right here. That's the U.S. Amateur Trophy right behind me. I'm not really flexing, Matt. This is the only place that I can sit down with not being attacked by a dog or a cat, or trying to keep quiet so they'll stay asleep. I just have some stuff. I got a Ryder Cup trophy. I have a Pine Valley Pro member winner plate. I have a sidelines pass from Oklahoma State, Oklahoma game. Just kind of memorabilia stuff that I don't know. You know what? I look at it every now and then, but in all honesty, it's just kind of decorations.
Hey, dude, it's
I'm more interested in when my grandson's coming over.
Scott Verplank is our guest. So when Nick Dunlap won, much attention was made to the fact that, well, it hadn't been for over 3 decades, and the last guy was Phil Mickelson. And it's understandable because, A, it was Phil Mickelson, and 2, because of the amount of time. But what people didn't realize is that the amateur that did it before Phil was our guest today in Scott Verplank. And Scott Verplank, when he did it, was the first to do it for 31 years. There's a lot of crossed lines there between he and Nick Dunlap. So I guess the first question I'd have for you, Scott, is did you feel that when you saw what he was doing and heard about what he was doing? Did it bring back some emotions and some memories?
Oh, absolutely. He is obviously is a very talented young man. Great success, winning the junior amateur and the U.S. amateur. So he obviously has some mental game, which is really what it takes in match play. So I think that served him very well with how he handled himself there in Palm Springs. I was so happy for him. I was like, come on, kid, pull this thing off, because I know you can do it. And I know there's kids in college right now that they have the physical game, but it's kind of, are they quite there yet mentally or confidence wise? And man, he hung in there so well and saw an opening there at the end and took advantage of it. And I couldn't be happier for him.
Now, distinctively different than you, from when you won the U.S. Amateur that you're flexing behind you as we speak, you win on the PGA Tour, you win the NCAA individual title. You pretty much, as an amateur, I would say, save for the Northeast Amateur, if memory serves me, you won pretty much everything else that you could possibly win out there. And you won the U.S. Amateur, and then on tour during a time where the echo of the voice of Jack Nicklaus was still saying that his 2 amateur titles he considered majors, in a nod, of course, to Bob Jones, his hero. So I'm curious, how and why did you decide, after winning on the PGA Tour, that you were not going to turn professional?
Well, Matt, that was, almost 40 years ago. I'd made a commitment. Go back even further. Become a type 1 diabetic at age 9. So my life got more structured. more kind of committed to a schedule. And that's kind of how I grew up. So by the time I went to college, I was kind of committed to the schedule of, making good grades, being part of the team, working my butt off to get better at golf. And I put the 3 years into it up to that point, and everything was on schedule. And I wanted to go back for my senior year of college, to be honest with you. I was having a ball. Kind of felt like, hey, why wouldn't you go back as the, winner on the PGA Tour and enjoy your last year of college? So, and I really wanted us to win another team title. So the money was not the same. I think now that you really have no choice. So I think Nick Dunlap is doing the right thing.
What advice would you give him in terms of even expectation after having won on tour as an amateur, to allow yourself to breathe and to play your best golf without the weight of expecting that every time you tee it up, you're going to be in contention to win?
Well, I would say that's obviously going to be a part of the equation, Matt. But I think, he's got like JT and a couple other Alabama guys, plus their coach, Jay Sewell, has done a nice job. The Alabama golf family will support him wholeheartedly. But he's actually, the way I look at it now, is in a great spot that, he didn't wake up on January 1 of this year thinking he was going to be exempt on the PGA Tour. He was preparing his year of playing for Alabama, playing in the Masters, playing in the U.S. Open as an amateur, maybe the British Open, doing all these cool things that you get to do after you win a U.S. Amateur. And then all of a sudden this happens and the whole world changed. So, I thought about it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, he should probably – he's going to get great advice. He doesn't need it from me. But he should probably take advantage of these select events. What do they call them? Elevated events. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the signature events, elevated events, whatever. They change every day what they want to call them, kind of like everything else has been going on. But yeah, he should take advantage of these short field, no cut, big money tournaments. Maybe add a couple other tournaments, and then enjoy all the major stuff that he got in from winning the U.S. Amateur. And kind of ease into it. That's what I would tell him, just because you weren't necessarily geared up to go right, full blast, all in PGA Tour, go play them all. Just learn along the way. I loved what he said. He came out there to Palm Springs to learn. That's basically what I did when I won the Western Open. I was there just to learn, try to play my best golf and see how good it was compared to the best in the world. So he went out there, learned a lot, learned that he's good enough to not only compete but win. So, if he stays healthy, it looks to me like he's going to play a lot of great golf for a lot of years. So hopefully he'll just take it slow and enjoy what he's got, and just try to be prepared to play every time he plays. And that is kind of the key. That's what makes like Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods and amongst that level of players so good. They were prepared to play every single time they teed it up, particularly in a major. So Nick Dunlap, that's what he needs to be shooting for, not shooting for playing every event and going wild. So we'll see. I know he's got great advice coming his way, so I'm looking forward to watching him play.
I'm going to ask you a question in which I'm going to interview through memory young Scott Verplank, and now you, who has the advantage of looking back on your PGA Tour career. When you decided to turn professional, and you had won everything, and everything you touched, you won. What were your expectations going into professional golf? What did you expect of yourself in terms of performance? And when you look back at the same time on the career that you had, did you have the career that you expected?
I don't know that I would say I had the career that I expected. The problem, not the problem, but yeah, I just didn't play as good for a number of reasons, health-wise, probably pushed myself too hard mentally, stuff like that. I thought I could probably contend a little bit more in majors, but listen, I don't have any regrets. I played my butt off every time I got a chance to play. Never felt like I let being diabetic hold me back. I think it actually prepared me. It did prepare me at a young age to be ready to win, just because I had to be methodical and a little more mature than the guys around me. But listen, I I'm good with it. Like I said, I was lucky enough to play all the big tournaments. I was lucky enough to represent the United States in 2 Ryder Cups, and in 2 Presidents Cups, and a World Cup. So I have no regrets on that. There's obviously times I wish I would have played better, but there's a lot of times where I was just trying not to hang it up. So I'm just not very good at quitting, Matt. So that's why I had some pretty highs and some pretty low lows. But what are you going to do? I'm happy to be here talking to you this morning.
That's awesome, my friend. You know that I love bringing on the guys that are veterans that can give us some perspective, not only into their own life, but what's going on in the world. I know that your voice is about to take another step up because if I'm not mistaken, your new podcast, The Scott Verplank Show, does it not debut today?
I think it does. I had a company here in town that has been real successful launching some podcasts. They asked me if I wanted to do one, and I said sure. And sure enough, I got Victor Hovland to be my first guest. So
Nice.
I'm trying to start out with a bang. I have a pretty good insight and inroads to all the Oklahoma State guys, plus a few other guys. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. We'll see if it works. I've told them if I'm not any good, then just give me a call and tell me to go home. And if we have some fun, like I said, Victor and I had a great talk. Looking forward to see how it comes out, and hopefully it'll be significant in some way or the other.
Selloutcrowd.com is where you can find the Scott Verplank Show that debuts today. Selloutcrowd.com. Okay, Scott, simple question. I suspect it's a complex answer. Here's your complication. You have 1 minute to give us the answer before we have to go to break. Is the game in the end of January 2024 in a better place than it was a year ago?
Well, that's all, Matt. Really, a minute?
Yeah.
I guess I would have to say yes, because I think that both sides of this equation have kind of stepped it up a little bit, and it's not without some real heartache and some lots of bumps in the roads. But to me, both sides are getting to the point where they're going to have to get together, because the LIV has taken so many good players. It's really taken away from the top of the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour is countered by elevated events, kind of stuff. It just the roads need to merge here pretty quick, and they need to figure it out. Get the egos and maybe some of the top guys out of the way, and let the game of golf rule. Let the game of golf keep living on in professional golf moving forward, where all the best players can play together. So I think we're closer to that, but I'm not convinced that it's going to happen yet.
See, I knew you'd nail it in a minute, and I also knew that would keep you coming back the next time when we go a little bit deeper. Scott Verplank, his show kicks off today. It's called The Scott Verplank Show. The podcast can be found at selloutcrowd.com. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for your company.
You bet, Matt. Thanks for having me on.